Good morning, I'm John Bushell, and this is London on a sunny day. Don't be too fooled, this is the first sunny day we've had this year. And we're going to walk to, I think, one of the kind of visual hearts of London at the centre of Waterloo Bridge. So let's go and see what we see. London is a very picturesque city. There's a sensibility in planning that is about townscape, visual assessment, but very subjective. Just as English gardens were informal and rolling rather than the very formal French garden or the meaning and structure in an Italian garden. And so that translates into a set of views. The views that we're looking at here, the first set were in 1933, because Unilever House, which KPF have worked on transforming, was blocking the view of St Paul's from this bridge. And that's one of the buildings that triggered this whole kind of issue about controlling development through views from cherished places to things of importance. And so we get a kind of a controlled anarchy, allowance of change, a kind of sensibility that prefers variety over repetition. We evolved then to, in 1944, Patrick Abercrombie had a beautiful analysis of London as many, many villages all joined together, about 70 different areas that he identified, some of them more specialised than others, the city being an example. And so that idea of a polycentric city has made it very, very robust and resilient, so many, many high streets, many areas that people can feel they belong to. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and how do we make London increase its density without sprawl, and where can we put taller buildings? And a link between the kind of polycentric city and transport nodes has evolved, so we're allowed to put taller buildings in clusters around really well connected places in the centre of town. So there's St Paul's and the space around it, and then the city to its right. That cluster only had a few 1970s buildings for a long time and was revisited in the early 2000s, and KPF actually won a planning inquiry for the Heron Tower, which said that if a tower is complying with all guidelines and all planning, then it can be approved and built, even if some lobbies didn't like the idea there would be more towers. So from this idea that the river is straight and the north part of the river is the oldest part, it's where the Romans were, it's where all of the institutions are, and the southern was like the unruly bit outside of the gates, but somehow the north and the south. We get to understand that actually the meandering of the river makes that much more complex picture, and we can see bits of South London over here and bits of North London, etc. And we can begin to understand in a more complex way a mental map of London, and also see the different areas in relationship to each other. And that's really beautiful, and you can see it at its clearest at the middle of Waterloo Bridge. As we're looking along the South Bank, we're just pausing because there's beautiful light. You can see the clouds and the sun, and there are so many paintings of the Thames over time, from medieval Canaletto and onto the Impressionists, and then Turner, who's done some amazing studies. And there's just a tiny intimation of how we've been in this short walk so far, in full sun, in full cloud. That huge variety of weather has something to do with the flexibility and variety of our approach to designing buildings in London. It's really hard to believe that certainly when I was at school and came up to London, there's absolutely nothing happening on the South Bank. There was the South Bank Centre and London Bridge, and nothing happening in between the two. And very gradually over time, things have happened along the river. The next bit of Southwark's ambition is to bring people south, further into the borough, and make the connection between the whole of the rest of the borough and the river frontage much easier. So our South Bank Tower, this was definitely an ugly duckling and needed a little bit of love, but it has essentially extremely well and ingeniously built. and really looks very refined now. But what we did do is we took all of the MEP out and we stacked it just over there. You can just see some of the steam coming out to free up all the roofs and the tower from any of the MEP plant. And then we made a route all the way through the building to help the permeability from Southwark and its own river frontage. I think the Thames is an amazingly varied place, but also a link, and it flows through each area. And I think the themes of fantastic juxtaposition of every age of building, guided by an aesthetic view analysis, a kind of picturesque view of the world, creates all of the kind of interest and intrigue and character that we've seen along the Thames this morning. Still sunny, which is amazing. And hopefully you've also enjoyed the beautiful light of London in January. Thank you.